This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad. My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble, slows us down, shall hear thereof and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. Um, I had like multiple ideas, streams. I've been having a lot of YouTube video ideas, a lot of fodder for um, for YouTube, and it's really been easy. Honestly, the hardest thing has been like trying to not go so hard that I would find myself under an Article 88 on the Uniform Code of Military Justice, which is like showing contempt or disrespectful of leadership, like government leadership. It's been a ton of like just I don't know if anybody see it like me or feel like me, but it's just been a ton of distractions and a ton of things that just make you scratch your head and be like, "Is this serious?" Um, and I don't know if it's intentional or not, but with the advancement of artificial intelligence, it's crazy to me right now how it's getting to the point where it's approaching very quickly, where you're unsure if this is real or if this is something that didn't even happen. And there's all of these checks and balances that these apps have to kind of, protect um, or prevent that just misinformation. There's like YouTube, it has things, I think it does anyway, or if it doesn't, it should have like where if you're uploading something, I can detect that this was created using AI because some of the stories, news stories that came out like last week, like I saw a news story that said something about president was saying um, if the Washington Commanders did not change their name back to the Washington Redskins, he was going to derail a plan that um, that had the Washington football team going back to the District of Columbia. Most people that are like casual football fans are not necessarily into football like that. They may not know that the Washington football team does not play in Washington. They used to play in RFK Stadium long, long time ago, and then they moved out to FedEx Field out near Landover, Maryland. They actually changed the name. Um, I think it was Jack Kent Cook. He was like the owner of the Redskins franchise, a racist dude, racist dude, history of it. Um, Google it. It's not my opinion. Google will let you know that. Oh, we got the protesters here. Let me see what her sign is saying. See, signology number one. Your ally rapes, bombs, starves Palestinian children. Um, it's one person. Oh, and then there's another sign. Stop your genocide on Palestine. I don't know why I'm using that accent. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. I'm not gonna do that. My bad. But anyway, um, yeah. So I was like, wait. So the president is out here threatening to cancel business deals um, if you don't do what he say. Um, okay. And I was like, this is the struggle because part of me is like, that's stupid. The president wouldn't be worried about stuff like that. But then the second part of me is like, uh, wouldn't he though? That seems pretty on message. Um, But it's like it's honestly because he don't care one way or another. I know he doesn't care, but the idea is everything that these liberal shoot, all right, well, I guess I'm go ahead. Everything that these liberal presidents did, we're gonna go ahead and just undo it. And it's a remember, make America great again.
What, sir? How are you doing?
All right, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you for asking.
Good.
Great day, Major.
You too, thank you.
Thanks, sir.
They had the LT out there. Let's go. I like seeing LTs on the gate. I ain't gonna lie to you. I honestly I like seeing officers on the gate. Because the gate can be a suck job. And a lot of times, military, you see officers taking the cush aspect of the job and the enlisted taking the trash part of the job. And it's not trash to guard the gate, but it's difficult. You know, being in this Alabama heat, it's not easy. Standing on the gate. Thank you for that thumbs up. But back on topic. Um, so I saw that and it was like this thing where I didn't believe it initially, and then I was like, nah, that's probably true. And then I went and I looked on a few um, websites, and it in fact was verified. Like, no, he did legit come out and say that he was going to block that. And then I had this idea, and you don't really need an app for this because the Constitution is this document that's like everywhere. You could look on the archives website, a government website. Constitution is out there, but the idea was checking the constitutionality of, um, like, is that my job? Is that my job? Is that on my job description? And what do I mean by that? Like a lot of the claims and a lot of the things that come out, and I'm trying to say this in a way that doesn't come across like disrespectful because it's not disrespectful. It's just honestly, it's like thought exercises I be having. Um, like that's not even in your job. And so I use ChatGPT a lot, a whole lot. I stopped playing video games. I used to be a real video game a file, and then as I gotten older, I gotten away from video games, and now it's been about learning information and knowledge. That's my fun, like learning things that I didn't know, things that you take for granted. I like doing that now, just to be in the know. And so um, every military member takes an oath, enlisted and officer takes an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That's a part of the oath that we take. Um, and so I wondered, there's no requirement for the president, there's no requirement for any of these offices. Um, are you in the military? Yes, this is a military uniform. Um, and there's no requirement to actually read the Constitution. So, like you taking this oath that you're going to support and defend this document, there's no requirement to read it. There's no time really in my Air Force career where we went over the document. And Julian OT says, "Hey, hi sir, I'm 13. One day I want to be in the Army. 11 Bravo. Okay, I don't know what 11 Bravo is. Maybe that's something that one of your family members or somebody. It looks like it's an MOS, which we don't do MOSs in the Air Force because I'm in the Air Force. We got the same uniform. I get it. People do it all the time. Don't feel bad. Because your dad did it. I like that, Julian. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's good that you look up to your dad and that you want to follow in his footsteps. That's a good thing. Um, Yeah, so Army uses MOS, Air Force uses AFSC, which is Air Force Specialty Code. I am not one of those dudes that's like a specialty code guru. You can sit there like, and you could. That's one of those things where you can learn it. But back to this app idea, and so it was just like, um, you don't necessarily need to use it, but because like you could just copy and paste whatever the claim is, and you can put it on Google, and you ask Google, is this Constitution or is this consistent with the Constitution? And Google will come back and tell you exactly what it, where it's outlined, the responsibilities, and um, it'll also tell you um, if it's not their responsibility or what potentially they could be using or referencing, what part of the Constitution they could be referencing to say it is Constitution. Uh, Thank you, Julian. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you. Did you start school? I know some people are starting school, or some kids are starting school already. So 13, I think 13 was the age when I started the ninth grade. So if you haven't thought about it, Julian, I'm guessing 11 Bravo is like an enlisted position. Uh, okay. Um, I'm guessing 11 Bravo was an enlisted position. What I would suggest for you, Julian, since you are interested in the military, think about going into ROTC. Ha! Hey, Adam Bomb Kid says, how am I doing this fine Navy day? I start August 4th. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I'm doing well today. I'm doing well. Today is Friday. TGIF. TGIF. I've been sick for a while, like just respiratory, and I can't even hear out this ear right now. Like I thought it was some liquid in the ear. There's no liquid. I'm gonna show y'all a picture. I'm gonna give you a warning. This is a gnarly picture. So if you got like stomach or anything like that, I'm gonna tell you when I put it up. Um, and then I'm gonna tell you when I take it down. But I'm gonna show you a picture of the inside of my ear. I bought this little it's at Walmart. It's a I think it's an otoscope or something like that. But I looked in my ear because I just wanted to see what was going on, if there was any like anything inside. And it's not anything inside, but it's pretty bad. Reserve Officer Training Corps is what you would like me to do in high school, sir. Yes, look into it. Look into it. They have that in high school, and they also have it in undergraduate. So if you're gonna go to university, they have it there as well. Enlistment shouldn't end at 42. Nowadays, older heads are way more in shape. That's true. Some of us can and still want to be in the military. Recruiters play too many runaround games. Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you something, Stacks De Niro. In the war, those things get relaxed. All of those, oh, we got these age requirements, because after a while, you're gonna start needing bodies. And so some of those requirements relax. So don't worry, stick around, stay sharp, stay frosty, and you might get your opportunity. But let me see if I can get this picture real quick. Hold on, let me show you, because this is what the inside of my ear looks like. And I'm still talking app ideas. But warning, warning, I'm giving y'all a warning. It's pretty nasty. Do go officer not enlisted. Unless you want to go enlisted to officer, but going straight to OCS is best. Um, yeah, the I would agree with Adam Bomb, and not from like, oh, it's better to be an officer than an enlisted person. No, not from that standpoint, just from a money standpoint. But this was my ear, y'all. So I put some polymixin in there, and polymixin is like this topical antibiotic. And so that changed the color of my ear. But if you notice, like right there, there's like a little white dot. That white dot is not usually there. And I think that white dot is like bacteria. There's whatever the bacteria that's infected my ear, I think that's what it is. Um, And yeah, it's not supposed to look. Your ear's not supposed to look like that. And that's what my ear looks like. It looks angry inside, and that's what it feels like. I got like fluid behind my ear. It's crazy right now. It's pretty bad, and I've been sick probably for about 2 weeks, 2+ weeks. It feels like. But my ear's not hurting anymore. It got so bad. The reason why I bought the thing was because like my ear pain was like on level 9, with 10 being the highest. It felt like my ear was about to pop. And yeah, it's bad. Sir, my mom is a nurse, RN. You have an abscess. We need to get it checked out right now, or you could spread your body and it could be infected. Yeah, that looks like the abscess in the ear. Yeah, I know. You're right. I do need to get it back checked out because like normally the pain stopped, but if you've been taking like I ran out of medicine today. Like I think it was for 10 days, and I was taking 2 amoxicillin, and I'm like, normally people stop taking their medicine because all of the symptoms go away. But my symptoms haven't went away. Probably a throat infection and an ear infection. Yep, you got it. Because what happened was it's a I got post nasal drip. This virus is a monster. I got post nasal drip, and so that made my throat hurt really bad. My eustachian canal got all agitated and swollen. So there's fluid behind my ear, and so that's what makes it sound like I'm underwater. Um, and then it's not like I said, it doesn't hurt anymore, but it is kind of like a pressure thing. I don't really feel pressure. I don't really feel pain. It's just that fluid behind your ear is crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that background because that background is kind of gnarly, like I said. To answer your question, should you go to college first? I think it depends on what you want to do. What do you want to do? It pus. It pus. It's pus. The pain stops, but the infection that could be spreading to your body. Yeah. In December, I had 2 ear infections and strep throat. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, strep throat was not fun. I didn't. I thankfully I didn't have any strep throat or anything. It was just post nasal drip that was causing the pain. Um, it's still a tiny bit, and I know as my mucus is going back to normal. So it's getting better, I think, but I feel like this ear is not getting better. It's not good. Um, but to answer your question, college, I would say from a debt standpoint, no. If you don't get your college paid for, I wouldn't. Like if you don't have a scholarship, that's why I say go do ROTC, because when you do ROTC, you could potentially get a scholarship for for your education. And if that's the case, because if you already know you want to go to the military, getting that education, that's going to put you in the officer lane. Because a lot of enlisted folks, they go in straight out of school, and one of the requirements, I don't know why my hand is dirty. I need to eat. Um, One of the requirements for being an officer is you have to have a bachelor's degree. Felt like you had a razor blade in your throat. That sucks. Glad you're better now, though. One of the requirements of being an officer is you got to have a bachelor's degree, and so you got to go to school for that. But if you don't have a way to get that paid for, either you're going to work while you're in school, or you have someone that can pay for it, um, or you're just going to take out student loans, and those student loans are going to be with you for a long time. I finished school in 2004. That's when I graduated under my undergraduate program. And no kidding, I just recently had my loans forgiven, um, because there's this thing where you do military service, you can have your loans forgiven, and that was after 10 years of service. So there's a pathway to do it, but again, if you're talking about from a financial standpoint, the way I've seen it is your best option would be if you have a scholarship and all of your education is paid for, go that way. If you don't have that, another path that you could take is you can go to the military straight from high school, and you stay there for, um, I think it's like 2 or 3 years, And while you're doing your upgrade training, you can also be doing your education training. And so you can do like classes in the Air Force. Is the community college of the Air Force. And so you can get you a community college, like you can get an associate's degree, which is not worth anything on the outside, but on the inside it helps you because it shows that you're this motivated airman, and that motivation often ends up being um, promotion. That's what it ends up turning into. Like when you look like a motivated airman or a motivated soldier, they're going to push you up and they're going to promote you ahead of your peers. And so that's one way to do it. So you can go to school straight out. That's one option. And not have any, like you just take out loans and pay for it. That's an option. You could do school straight out of high school and you can have a scholarship. That's another option. And then you could do military straight out of school and with you know doing community college classes and then also doing um, online education. You can do that. The military will pay for those for a lot of those classes where you won't pay anything out of pocket, so you don't incur a debt. So the options that I would recommend if you were my child, what I would say is um, go with what's not going to generate debt, because that impacts your quality of life. And so, whatever way that you can get your education without having debt, that's what I would do. Um, and this is the officer has multiple pathways where the military pays for your education as well. That's correct. That's correct. Um, so yeah, you got, and then we got Prod Tech. Looks like Texas. I don't know what that says. T3RXSS. You wild. Um, yeah. So that was one app I did, just like a constitutionality thing. But the other app I did was because I'm doing my tour. I've been in the South for a while, and the South is a different beast in and of itself. Um, there's places in the South where, okay, let me back up. The South. I'm reading this book right now. He said probably spam. I'm reading this book right now. Are you leaving a manifesting? I think what you're saying is, am I leaving a manifesto? No, I'm not leaving a manifesto. Um, Usually those manifestos is like somebody done had it and they're putting something down, and then like, hey, just when y'all are working back the footage and trying to figure out the story of why I snapped, this manifesto is why I snapped. Because I had it up there and I can't stand it anymore. No, I'm not doing that. That's not what this is. It's just me talking. I live in Texas, so I think it'll be fine. How long I've been in? I've been in this year will put me at 17 years. So before I'm retirement eligible. And so I'm excited about that. I have a new assignment. We're going to, I'm actually going close to Texas. I'm going to Oklahoma for this next assignment. And this will probably be my last assignment. So I'm excited about that. But this app I did, being in the South, it's okay. Being a black man in the South is a whole different experience, and um, some places I have felt fine, and other places I spidey sense was going off like, I don't think I'm necessarily welcome here, and it doesn't feel. There's a vibe that say like, nah, go ahead and get back in your car and go to another gas station. And that's usually when um, all of that stuff comes into play. It's like when you're traveling. There used to be in um, former years, there used this thing called a green book. I'm a major. So this right here, this leaf is like a oak cluster, and it's a brown oak cluster. And so that signifies my rank. Thank you, Annabomb Kid. Um, I'm an officer. Um, come to Cali. We all good here. You're right. You're right. I actually spent a lot of time at my Air Force career in Cali. That was my first duty station. I went out to Travis Air Force Base. It's like a few minutes from San Fran. Julian says I'm Mexican. Texas, you're welcome. It's Mexican and Blaxk. Um, yeah, some parts, some parts. You're an no. I am an O4. So you advocate. You're either an O or you're either an E. It's not gonna be both though. Except for warrant officers, it's kind of like this hybrid thing where I honestly don't know. We just got warrant officers back in the Air Force not too long ago, and so I haven't looked into it honestly. But I'm an O4. So O stands for officer. That's my grade. I'm an O, and 4 is major. So you start out as a second lieutenant, which might not make sense, but you start out as a second lieutenant, then you promote to a first lieutenant, and then you promote to captain, and then you promote to major. Were you prior enlisted? No, I was never enlisted. So I came into the Air Force as a health provider, and so what they do to make you to try to attract people is they give you rank. I came in as a captain, and then I crossed over to the line side of the Air Force, and I'm saying a lot of terms that you got to look up. The line side, there's a medical side and there's a line side, and the line side is like an operational side. And so I switched over from sides, and when I switched over from sides, because I didn't have the time and grade required to be a captain, I actually lost rank. So I went from came in captain, went first lieutenant, and then had to promote back up to captain, and then promoted up to major. And so right now I'm at a place where typically at my time in service, I'm typically a lieutenant colonel, but I've been non-selected a couple promotions, so I'm currently 04. But that's my Air Force story. My grandpa was Air Force. He told me they feed you guys really good. So I will say this: yes, that's true. But the one time I deployed, and it was like a non-hostile area over in the United Arab Emirates. The Army food was better than the Air Force food. Surprise, surprise. Uh, uh, I spent a lot more time than I thought I would eating in the Army stuff because the Army would have something one day and the Air Force would have something. And the Army had these days where, like, this food is actually better here. Someone can go and eat here. We were eating like lobster. Uh, there's this thing like they used to feed you really well before you went out to like these missions where people might die. There was this time in the military where they did that, but now, like, it was called Surf and Turf Sundays, and like it was one Sunday a month where we were eating lobster tail, and I was like, man, this doesn't feel like a deployment. This feels like a vacation. But I mean, you're away from your family, and so you know, it is what it is. And my cousin is in the Marines. I don't know which branch to go to, but I want to do the Army like my dad. Oh, that's why prior enlisted get OE pay. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so you're right. Okay, you're right, Annabom. You're right. OE. Okay, stand corrected. OE. It's only up to captain, and when you reach OE, when you reach the rank of major, it's it's not classified as OE for some reason. Um, because that OE, they make more money than your just straight up O's. And the reason why they do that, yes, it's gone at 04. The reason why is because they have more time in service typically. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you. Says Mo says thank you for your service, sir. Um, that's why prior enlisted get OE pay from O1, OE1 to OE3. When they go O5, they lose a bonus prior enlisted pay. Yeah, yeah, that's typically it's O4. You lose that whole E thing because after a while the scale kind of balances out. But the reason why I would say go officer is just strictly from a financial point. Thank you, Adam Bomb Kid. I appreciate you too. You're gonna make a lot more money as an officer, as an enlisted. I have a cousin right now. She is progressing through the enlisted corps pretty quickly right now. She's an outstanding airman. She's like, I really wish I could convince her to go to the officer side because she is an outstanding non-commissioned officer. She's like Air Force level, like award winning. She's excellent. She's excellent. And she's like, I just feel like I would have more impact as a chief master sergeant than if I was a say um, a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And yeah, do chiefs have more impact than a lieutenant colonel? I think so. I think so. Just because when you look at the way the service is broke down, is there's more enlisted than there are officers, and so um, I get why she says she doesn't want to cross over, but I just looking at the money. She's got a kid, because one day you're gonna take the uniform off, and that impact that you had as a chief, that no one can ever take that away from you. You can be a mentor to other chiefs and other enlisted airmen, but when you look at that money, like that chief, like right now as a major with X amount of years in, I make more than the chief master sergeant, which to me, it just I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not gonna fight the system. The system is what the system is. Um, but that's why I said go officer. It's strictly from a financial perspective. Um, Julian, what you got to know is there's differences in the services. Each service is doing something different in terms of the defense of the country. Go eat breakfast. Oh, you eat breakfast? I need to eat some breakfast too. I'm with you, Julian. I need to because I'm jittery. I'm hungry. My hand is. I don't know if y'all can see it, but my hand is feeling a little jittery right now. But the app idea was basically go ahead and turn your location, and if you're at and it's not like a it's thing that's meant to be. It's just something to help you with your decision making, and where because this is what I do when I'm traveling in the South. If and I'm looking when to stop, the first thing I look up is sundown town. And I'll Google it. I say, is this a sundown town? Or was this, whatever place I'm passing through, was this ever downtown? What is a sundown town? What's that? The sundown town was a place where if you were a person of color, you should not be caught in this town when the sun goes down. And there will be signs that will say, inward, don't let the sun go down in this town. And it would be a sign like to clearly let you know where you were and what was going on. And if you were like, but then there were other places where you just had to pay attention because like daytime, you know, it was fine. But all right, we going home now, and you need to get to your side of the town because this ain't it. And so there's a lot of that vibe that exists driving around. That vibe. There's a lot of that vibe that still exists. And like um this often is interesting in one regard because it's very patriotic. Very patriotic. I can remember being out in other places. I there were some places where I rarely got someone that said, um, thank you for your service that will come up to me. But in the South, I've gotten all like it doesn't matter your color. They see this uniform, they respect the uniform. And by and large, in places where we're about to go. So I'm going back to Oklahoma. I can remember when I was a captain. We were out lunch, and um, there was some people that walked past the table, and they looked. They looked at me, and then they looked at, and I was a senior ranking. They looked at me, and then they looked at a junior ranking officer, and they told the junior ranking officer, "Thank you for your service." He happened to be white, um, but like look at me, acknowledge. Oh, I see you, but I ain't talking to you. That exists too. Um, that exists. I'm aware of it, and it's just some of the dynamics of the country, and that the new generation, because I feel like every year, the farther and farther you get away from Jim Crow, the farther and farther you get away from slavery, the farther you get away from these things, I feel like the hope, the hopeless romantic, man, my hand is shaking. The hopeless romantic in me feels and believes that it's getting better. But um, then I look on, the news. I watched yesterday where this college student, where was it at? He was pulled over in Florida, Jacksonville. And this dude, like they busted his window and um, they also knocked his tooth out and gave him some stitches. And they the reason they pulled him over was because he didn't have his headlights on. And he was like, but it's daytime. And it's not even raining right now. So why do I need my headlights on? Why would you pull me over for that? Why is that a crime? And and then he asked for the supervisor. He said, can I get a supervisor out here? And then I noticed in the video, he was like, all right, you can go. The cop said, all right, you can go ahead. That's all he said. And then the next thing that happened there's an officer that takes this window breaking device and breaks his window. Um, Tells the guy one time, and then he like splashes out the whole window, the rest of the window, and he tells the guy one time. He said, "Get out the vehicle." And then the guy is like asking a question, and then he says, "Get out the vehicle" again. And as he's saying, he says, "Get." And when he says "get," the next word "out," it was at the same time he says "out." He's punching the guy in his face. He said, Get out the vehicle." And then he pulls the guy out, and the guy's trying to put his hands behind his back. He's like, "Why are you doing this? Why is this?" And so the guy, he's shorter than him. He like pulls his hands, both hands behind the guy's neck, and as he's pulling them down, he lets it go and just like uppercuts the guy. And then they mash the guy's face in the ground, and I'm just watching it, and I'm like, man, it's a college age kid. That he's a kid. I mean, he was tall, but he's a kid. And I was like, where was he at? He was in Jacksonville. They get violent with window smashing. It's all when they get violent with that window smashing, it's all down here from there. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I actually started doing this. Um, I started riding around with my phone mounted, like just like you know because I'm just it's almost like a protecting myself because what they ended up saying about the guy, they filled out a police report, and initially the guy didn't file a formal complaint, and he did not disclose that he had a video. He probably was afraid, but he had a video of the interaction, and like the guy, I was like, he's doing everything textbook. Now somebody might give the criticism of, hey, well, he told him to get out. He should have just got out immediately. Um, okay, yes, but there's no escalating of anything. It's like force. Force, there's this continuum. When you come over there, hey, how you doing? You come over there with a voice, and your interaction is pleasant because you out here serving and protecting. How you doing? You know why I pulled you over? And um, but like when the guy started recording after the whole situation, he started recording after he noticed the shift in the interaction. And like at the beginning of he's explaining something to one person, and there's some other officers. I think it ended up being like 4 or 5 officers out there. So like, why do 5 people need to respond to a guy that didn't have his headlights on and it's not raining? You know, that just seemed a little bit heavy-handed. Florida, know where you are. Know the history of Florida. Florida is not this pleasant place. You know, it's all sunshine. It's like the second most popular tourist destination, but it ain't all sunshine and rainbows out there for certain people. And so, if I was giving my son feedback, and I get it, you afraid, you're afraid. Um, I feel like the kid did anything wrong. If my son had did that, I hold up. Okay. All right. I'm just Chick-fil-A is in the wild hole now, in the watering hole. So this live might be concluding. I'm cooking right now. I'm feeling it. But I, you say magic words, breakfast. Um, but yeah, I saw it, man, and I ain't gonna lie. I was watching the I was watching the news conference, and so anytime you see Benjamin Crump, Benjamin Crump is a civil rights lawyer. Anytime you see him out, one, he don't come out unless it's about to be a payday involved, like a big payday. And when you see him, it's almost like how when they used to see Johnny Cochran. Benjamin Crump is like the new Johnny Cochran now. He's a very beloved individual in the community, because he's out here for civil rights. And like when rights get violated, they bring him in. You about to probably make a couple millions in this judgment. Um, and so the reason why I'm talking about that is because, like, again, I'm talking about the South, and I'm talking about this app. There's thank you, Sauce Money, appreciate you. I guess my phone decided it was time for me to, to go get some breakfast because my phone got too hot. It's in the sun. Um, but yeah, I just think that'd be a really useful tool. Um, Maybe if you overlay it on the app and do like, because I think the service, like back in the day, it was called the Green Book, and it was where it was developed by, like, I don't know, I need to look in that history, but it was developed by like a black traveler that just traveled around, I guess word of mouth, like at different places and different stops that are not necessarily um, friendly. It's almost like a Yelp. That's how you would do it in terms of their historical. Like, what does the historical data say? Like, how many people have been, you know, harassed, or how many people have filed complaints? Like, just do a temperature chart and do it on a map overlay. Because I literally would use that. Like, maybe Waze or somebody could do like a map overlay. I don't think Waze, because it would be turned into like a political thing. Um, you know, and it's not necessarily political. It's just like, hey man, just so you are aware, this place has historically been known as a sundown town. So if you're feeling weird vibes, you're not crazy. And that's another one of the stressors, I would say, of being black in America. If we're gonna segue to that real quick. Um, Under is like this hyper vigilance, because you got to be watching and you got to be paying attention like all the time, because things are happening and signs are being displayed. But if you don't have your ears and your eyes on, you can walk right into a situation, and like it was an avoidable situation, for those people that were watching. But those people that weren't watching, you in it. And there's some places, man, I'm telling you, like when you see them stars and bars, is yeah, you in it. You in it. And and especially it just depends on what's been going on in the news, what's happening lately, the temperature, especially the temperature. Summertime, I'm it's it's almost August, and we haven't heard like this year seems like a better year because we haven't heard a whole lot about you know this hashtag. This person is now a hashtag. Um, Although that young man from Jacksonville could have been, he easily could have been a hashtag. And yeah, I just think like an app like that would be amazing. And all you would do, you would base it on it's on historical data. Um, and maybe it, I don't know. Yeah, if you base it on historical data, base it off of just like news. Maybe you could limit some of the bias that way. You're always gonna have some type of bias in there. Um, great job great job on the explanation. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But that hypervigilance thing, it's like imagine if you are always being vigilant, what that does on your system, your body system. Because think about it, you got this fight or flight response. Am I gonna fight or am I getting ready to run? And um, that's a autonomic system. That's an automatic process where you get. Oh my gosh, my hand's shaking. Ooh, I'm jittery. I gotta go eat. Um, you get these signals from your body, and like your body's not meant to stay in that elevated state forever. Think about it. Adrenaline ain't supposed to be like this thing that you become used to, like constantly operating off of all day. Like it's exhausting, number one, when that adrenaline finally does go down. And it's just like, what's the long term impacts of that? And you look at these health disparities, and you it starts to make sense why you know life expectancy is um is lower. It's differences in life expectancy. It all start to make sense. Um, but oh shoot, I left that water in the car. Oof. Mm, oops. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get. Oh, look, we got morale gear today. Whoop, that's all right. This is my morale gear. My morale is boosted in this uniform. Um, so I'm gonna go ahead and eat this breakfast real quick. Get this Chick-fil-A, and TGIF, everybody. Be blessed. Don't worry. Don't worry about what you see. Um, better days are coming. That's what we've been telling ourselves for a long time. Better days are coming, and it's got me through. And so, hopefully, if somebody out there can relate, and even if you can't relate, try to understand it. Try to look through a different pair of glasses. See it from somebody else's perspective. A lot of times, when you tell people will say and say, "Oh, there they go, they playing the race card, or they doing something like that." Like the thing is this is not a game. It's not a game. Like I'm expressing heel, and I'm a human being with, and if I get too up, oh now I'm being aggressive. My voice, you know. But if I'm not too up, oh now I'm being nonchalant. I've been called all of these things, because like one of the military, like when stuff is going on and people start, they call it pinging, and they get like excited and animated. I'm not one of those people. I don't try to be one of, but I'm one of them ducks that my legs is moving fast under the water, but up top I look like I'm okay, and so people will make judgments like, oh, he's not serious, you know, just constantly being under the gaze of, you know, looked at through this lens. Well, this is how I view that, and so this is how it is. But just understanding not all people are the same, and maybe there's a different explanation that you didn't consider. And so instead of making assumptions and conclusions, seek to understand. Like if we could get people to do that, man, seek to understand. Hey, Mercer, shout out to you. Mercer says chair force. There's truth to that. I, and we'll tell. Hey, when we hear that, we don't mind because there's truth to that. There's a reason why um, we joined the Air Force. I wish my young boy Julian, he went to breakfast, but I know your dad might been in the army, but talk to your dad, ask him like, hey dad, if you could do it over again, would you go to the Air Force? What would you think about the Air Force, dad? Because 9 times out of 10, these people that served their career in the army and these other branches, they will tell their children, go to the Air Force. It's 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 just I don't know. I don't know why that exists, but it is. This is a great place to serve. I mean, if you're gonna serve, serve where you want to serve. I can remember I was a kid and I did Young Marines, and I wanted to be a Marine. Like the way that they operated, they had those, what were their ranks? Corporals and lance corporals, which is like a E3 or E4. They had them out there, and they were yelling at us, and they were leading us in like drill and PT and all of these things, and we were marching. I loved it, but then I found out what they do. I'm like, these guys, they basically put them in a cage, in a small cage, shake them up, get them agitated and irritated, and then they sick them on the baddest people, the enemy, and they're the first ones to go in. A lot of them gonna get taken out. They're gonna see a lot of bad things, but your nation's like you the tip of the spear. Um, I like being the chair. I like being the chair. Call it cowardice or whatever. But I like being the chair. I like airfield operations. I like being responsible for the um, airfield and the up and down the planes and making sure the imaginary surfaces and all of these other things that we do in our career field are in place and ready to go. I love doing what I do. I love the Air Force. I know I say I'm gonna get out at 20, but that's really just because from a family aspect. You know, parents get older, siblings get older, and at some point you have to say, okay, this is good. This is a good place to end it. But like I'm gonna cherish this time for life. I'll be on my deathbed like, man, I'm glad I went to Air Force. I'm glad I went to Air Force. Thank God. That's gonna be me. That's gonna be me. Where I'm from. I'm from America. That's a very complex question. Where was I born? I was born in America, Washington D.C., Northwest Washington D.C., the District of Columbia. Um, but yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. Thank y'all for joining me today. This concludes my um, TED Talk. If anything has been said, feel free. You might not have noticed it on your way in, but you could throw a super chat. Don't think that you can't throw a little $1.99 for your time in there. Don't feel like you can't double tap your screen real quick. Don't feel like you can't subscribe. Because I'm talking about real stuff all the time. I don't understand what this means, Zagier. You says, are you shoulder? Can you rephrase the question? I think what you're saying, and this is just me speculating. Am I an officer? Because officers used to have their rank on their shoulders. We don't do it anymore, but we used to. In our service dress, we still do it. Now, rank is on that chest. Actually, we used to have it right here. I liked it right there. But this right here, oh, I mean, are you army man? Nah, 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 nah. I'm new to the chat, man. I know what is the chat about. Man, I'm unfortunately, Zachincha, the chat is just about over. I was literally concluding, but the chat, it was about the news stuff that happened that I saw in the news. It was about some app ideas that I had being black in America, being a black man in America. That was what the chat was about. I actually talked to some young kids about possible pathways that they could take in terms of the military. They were talking about officer versus enlisted. They were also talking about um, the financial benefits of going in as enlisted straight out of high school. And that was pretty much a summary of what we were talking about. I'm from Pakistan, bro. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I know a guy that just did a mission not too long ago out to Pakistan. I heard it can be pretty tough for Christians out there in Pakistan. So respect to this man. There's a message that's being held for review. Oh, Smack Jackson makes a comment. Um, Thank you. Bless you now. I'm gonna go ahead and leave it hidden though. Anyway, I'm gonna be on out of here. Y'all have a good day. Be blessed, and come back. I be on here from time to time.